Jasmine's question is that when in a household you have girls who are growing up and they are in their teenage, and as they go out and interact with more people and explore the world a bit more, what message do I have for such children who are now discovering a different aspect of this world in a different light? What message do I have for them? Correct? Until now, I had no message, but I'll make one up right away. It's not something I thought of. It's sometimes it fascinates me that how this world is. Most girls tend to be very gullible in that either innocence. I think there was a time when there were joint families and you would learn the tricks of the trade early on. You would be exposed to different kinds of behavior and people early on in your lives, and you had better comprehension of what the other person might mean. But as families became nuclear, we tend to trust just about everybody. Most people are not cunning. Most people don't have any malice in their hearts. And girls tend to be a bit more gullible. What I have observed, and this is purely based on the number of people I've met all these years, that girls are like really extremely sincere, loyal, and intelligent. It's like you tell them something once, if they get it, they will just follow. What happens sometimes in the lives of many girls, a boy will come along or a man will come along, make a promise which he never meant to begin with, and totally derail that girl. She would lose sight of her career, she would lose sight of her capability, of her strengths, and somehow seeking that approval, seeking that love from this other person becomes the most important thing to her. And that is usually a very sad turning point in a woman's life, whether she's a young woman or a grown-up woman or a really grown-up woman, doesn't matter. It happens to everybody. And that then somehow sets them on a course, on a path, which they don't even want to be on. But that helplessness creeps in. That I don't want to be this person. I don't want to be dependent on this man. I don't want to look up to this other person. But somehow I can't get him out of my head. What do I do then? Now, at that time, what really helps you is your samskara. What really helps you is how you were brought up. If you were brought up in a setting where you were learned to believe in yourself with a lot of love and care, because that's what I think the feminine kind need more than anything else in the world, love. And this disciple once asked his guru, he said, Master, you have said that love is the way to transform a person. In fact, he said, you've said love is the only way. But what to do if love does not transform the other person? The master said, give them even more love. And sometimes, we think that I am doing enough for this person. But each individual's requirements are different. Just like you will go in a dining hall and you will see not everybody eats the same quantity. Different people like not only different things, but they eat those in different quantities. Similarly, the desire or the need for love is different in each individual's life. Some need it just in 5 minutes, some need it all day, many times a day. And we cannot compare two people. We cannot judge the other person saying, but you are being unreasonable. I mean, how can you? I mean, that's how they are. So, going back to the point I was making, if at that time a girl understands this through and through, that ultimately she can be the controller and the dictator of her own life, she can be happy without constantly seeking external love or approval. If she at that time can remember that if I just be my own person, I will attract the right kind of people in my life. When you go out begging for love, which is a very common scenario, even though it sounds pretty tragic, but it is pretty common. When people fall in love with somebody, I mean, love is truly blind. They can't think of anything else. Constantly, that person is on your mind for good or bad. And you just want to be with that person, speak to that person, hear from that person, and so on. But when you do that, you do your individual existence great injustice. Basically, what you're saying is at that time, I am incomplete. I, on my own, am no good. And I need somebody else to tell me how good I am, or at least make me feel a certain way. And not just girls, even boys. I'm going to take a slightly detour here. Some of the most amazing children, they give up their talents and hobbies when they're in their teenage. They'll be so good at something. They could be a world-class athlete, a musician, an artist, a poet, a writer, whatever, a scientist, a saint, but they will give up their efforts when they hit teenage, as they explore their sexuality, as they come to terms with new feelings rising up in their hearts. Now, at that time, if those who can keep their act together, keep their house in order, keep their head above their shoulders, I mean, above water maybe, head is always above shoulders, hopefully. And those are the ones who really go on to become independent thinkers and transformers in the world. So that self-belief, self-love, and something meaningful is, all these things are extremely important at that time, because the one who goes in the quest of love is walking a lost path. Just like happiness, you attract love. Sometimes people tell me, Swamiji, we love you. I said, that's because I'm very nice to you. If I wasn't nice, and if you don't feel that niceness in somebody, it's hard to love somebody when you don't think they're nice. You can only love somebody if you like them. The person has to be likable before they can be lovable. Really, look at it any day and you will know how true that is under most circumstances. So I think at that time, or even beyond, if you can take control of your feelings in life, which is doable entirely when you have a certain purpose in life, when you have a certain meaning to your existence, you would never go out seeking love. You would never be chasing one person and then another person, only and every time to be disappointed. Because who loves the other person thinking, I am really going to make a difference in this person's life? People say, I have these certain needs. कपड़े धोने हैं, रोटी बनानी है, थोड़ा कमरा ठीक करना है, ग्रोसरीज लाने है, कोई लड़ने वाला चाहिए साथ में, तो who can I have in my life? And then this person, okay. So that's usually how selections are done. It's always, all relationships, doesn't matter where you are, at what stage, all of them are gamble. You can never be sure of anything. It's like building a startup. No guarantees whatsoever. You may have the best idea, best team, best funding, best execution, best timing, best market, best customer. Still, your stock will tank, your shares won't be there, and you may clock $0 in revenue. Nobody knows anything because it's an uphill task. What we are saying is, I want somebody in my life who will live or lead his or her life exactly the way that appeals to me, because that is the reason of my happiness. Good luck. Even happy holy won't cut it. If, on the other hand, if I say I am responsible for what I am feeling, then I am entering into a relationship well knowing that I have certain needs, and maybe those needs are not going to be fulfilled. But at that time, I will only say one thing: have the courage to walk away. Believe me, you don't want to be in an abusive relationship. And nature will work something out in a million other ways. But should never subject yourself to somebody's abuse, somebody demeaning you, degrading you. Nobody deserves that, except the person who's doing that to you. Just joking. So never put up with that. At that time, when you are a teenager or grown up or going through that stage, just remember there are countless choices in your life that you can still make at any point in time to change the course of your life. That is why we educate, right? Our children, boys and girls. That's why we educate them, so they have the strength to make their own choices, so they have the wisdom to make the right decisions in life, so they have the ability, the aptitude, the skill set to go and earn their own bread. And sometimes how well somebody does financially or professionally in life is entirely dependent on how they spend their teen years. Those scars that somebody experiences, those problems that crop up during those years, sometimes they can take decades to heal. So my message to all such children would be that, as I say, you are a master of infinite possibilities. Pick one and run with it. And you will attract the right kind of people if that is so important to you. That is my long message. In a classic style, teenagers hate when somebody lectures them. I could have given a very short answer: believe in yourself. That's it, Aarti time. But no, I had to give a long lecture. I'm 40 plus, remember? So it's a time in your life when you know everything, but nobody wants to know it from you.